What's up everyone and welcome back to the UFC News Hub. Today let's get started with Khamzat versus Nickal will be as big as Jones versus Aspinall. Right now, most MMA fans agree that one of the biggest fights to make in the UFC is a heavyweight title unification bout between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. Right behind that, an Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria fight is also generating massive interest, but Nickal believes that if he continues winning inside the octagon, a fight between him and Khamzat Chimaev could be just as big. During an interview this week, Nickal made it clear that he sees this matchup as one of the most exciting fights the division could offer. At the top, you've got Jones and Aspinall. You got Ilia potentially with Islam or another 155 ER, and I think right after that, the most exciting fight next is me and Khamzat. You know, that's something the fans need to see, that I want to see. I'm sure he wants it as well, so I just gotta keep winning fights, and we'll make it happen, said Nickal. Right now, Nickal is focused on his upcoming fight against Renard Derer in May, while Chimaev is expected to be next in line for a crack at the UFC middleweight title. When Chimaev finally steps into the octagon against Dricus du Plessis, Nickal believes that Chimaev's grappling will be the ultimate difference maker. While du Plessis has shown serious power and an unbreakable will in his fights, Nickal isn't convinced that he has the tools to deal with Chimaev's relentless wrestling and submission game. I think the striking is pretty even. Khamzat obviously has a massive advantage in grappling. You just don't get strong grapplers like that competing. Dricus is not going to have a game plan for that. Really, the only two guys I believe in this sport that can give that feel are me and Khamzat, said Nickal. While the UFC hasn't officially announced when Chimaev will fight du Plessis, expectations are high that the two will face off this summer. Dana White has already expressed a strong interest in having Chimaev fight for the belt in the United States, which could mean a massive event later this year. If Chimaev wins, it sets up a very interesting future for the division, especially if Nickal keeps proving himself inside the octagon. The wrestling-heavy clash between Nickal and Chimaev could be one of the most intriguing matchups in years, and if both fighters continue on their paths, it might just become one of the biggest fights the UFC can make. Before we continue, subscribe and click the bell icon to help support the channel. Conor McGregor done fighting in the UFC. It looks like Conor McGregor might have other plans beyond fighting. During a BKFC press conference, McGregor revealed that his focus is shifting now that he's involved in politics, and fighting is no longer his sole priority. His recent visit to the White House seems to have sparked something deeper within him, making him reconsider what's next for his future. You know, like I said, I've got 2 fights on the contract. I'm in negotiations. Last week, something happened to me. I went to the White House, and my country is in my heart bleeds for my country right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on back home. I'm happy with what I've done, but there's something else for me that's in my gut right now, and that's kind of where I'm going. So we'll see. Greatness doesn't rush, and right now, Ireland is in my thoughts, and that's where I'm at, said McGregor. While he mentioned that greatness doesn't rush, time isn't exactly on his side. With each passing day, McGregor is getting older, and the longer he waits, the slimmer the chances become of seeing him return to the octagon at his best. The UFC has been waiting for his comeback, and fans still hope to see him step into the cage one more time. But with his attention now split between politics and other ventures, the question remains, will we ever see Conor McGregor fight in the UFC again? Daniel Cormier warns Tom Aspinall about Jon Jones' fight. Daniel Cormier has a warning for Tom Aspinall ahead of his potential fight with Jon Jones. While nothing has been officially finalized, both Dana White and Aspinall himself have stated that a title unification bout is the plan. In the meantime, Aspinall has been having some fun at Jones's expense, calling him a duck and even bringing a rubber duck to the Fight Night London card this past weekend. But while Aspinall may be confident, Cormier believes he could be in for a serious wake-up call if he steps into the octagon with Jones. During the latest episode of his and Chael Sonnen's Good Guy, Bad Guy show, Cormier made it clear that Aspinall might not be fully prepared for what's ahead. He's very mean, he's very durable, he's hard to fight, and Tom Aspinall is going to find out, right? You know what the craziest thing is about being Tom Aspinall? Being young and winning. The fans in the world can really make you go, I'm gonna get this dude. And then you're in there and you start losing, and you're like, God dang it, how am I losing? How does he deal with that if that starts to show itself in the fight or a long fight? Because it's gonna be hard to get Jon Jones out of there in 1 minute, said Cormier. Cormier's point is a crucial one. Aspinall has only been out of the first round once in his UFC career, when he submitted former champion Andrei Arlovski in the second round of their 2021 fight. Every other fight he's had in the UFC has ended in the very first round. While that speaks to his explosiveness and finishing ability, it also means he's never been in deep waters against an opponent of Jones's caliber. Jones, on the other hand, has built his career on dominating opponents in long, grueling fights. He's been in championship rounds multiple times, has adapted to different styles, and has beaten some of the best fighters in MMA history. Aspinall may believe he can finish Jones early, but if he doesn't, what happens when he starts facing adversity? That's the real test. Jones has made a career out of breaking opponents mentally and physically over time. If Aspinall can't get the job done quickly, he might find himself trapped in a fight that's unlike anything he's ever experienced before. The fight isn't official yet, but if it does happen, this will be the biggest challenge of Aspinall's career, and according to Cormier, he better be ready for what's coming. MMA community calls out Nina Drama for comment. The MMA community is calling out Nina Drama over her recent comment supporting Conor McGregor's political ambitions. McGregor recently tweeted a newspaper headline stating, "We will stop McGregor's bid for Aras," referring to his rumored run for Ireland's presidency. In response, McGregor confidently fired back, "No, you won't." But what really caught people's attention was Nina Drama's reply, "President McGregor," which quickly led to backlash from the MMA community, accusing her of hypocrisy. Many MMA fans were quick to remind everyone that Nina Drama had previously called out the MMA guru for making a joke about a reporter, labeling him a vile and pathetic human being. Now, those same critics argue that her support for McGregor, who has faced serious legal controversies, contradicts her past stance. The backlash was fueled by the fact that Nina has shown support for high-profile fighters like McGregor and Jon Jones despite their controversial pasts, but has publicly attacked a YouTuber over a joke. MMA guru himself wasted no time responding, calling out Nina Drama's apparent double standards. Nina, what if I told you that while Conor McGregor was pinning down his victim, he oinked her in the face, stuck an apple in her mouth, and called her a fat pig? Would that change your mind? I don't even think he's guilty based on the case. But this is very interesting from you. These people will do anything but admit the only reason they don't like me is because I was critical of them. Just funny at this point watching them hide behind their morals, said MMA guru. The criticism didn't stop there. Other members of the MMA community quickly chimed in, pointing out what they saw as blatant hypocrisy. One fan wrote, "MMA guru called Kaplan fat, harassment, McGregor being my president, the things you would do to grow your brand." Another added, "I'm usually against Nina hate, but this tweet did it for me." Remember when Nina cried about a YouTuber calling her friend fat? Just outraged and disgusted. How could one treat women that way? Zero integrity. The backlash continued, with some fans outright calling her a sellout. Nina supports McGregor and Jones, but has to use her platform to speak out against MMA guru? Complete sellout. LMAO, you aren't getting an interview, Nina. Another fan pointed out, the double standards you show regularly are hilarious. Nina, the biggest Jones and McGregor fan, but tries to humiliate another man on Twitter for making a joke. The debate has now taken over social media, with many questioning whether Nina Drama's outrage is selective. While she has criticized certain figures in the MMA world for their comments, she appears to have no issue supporting fighters with much bigger controversies attached to their names. What do you think? Is Nina being unfairly targeted, or is the MMA community right to call her out on her double standards? Let us know in the comments below.